Friday. So, what is up, live team? How are we doing? How's everybody going? Hope everyone's having a great day. We're ready to roll for a new day of trading. Hopefully, new opportunities, new bags is what I like to say. And we do have a great group of stocks that we're watching coming into the power hour, is what I like to call my last hour of the day. If you are new here, my name is Sniper Mike, Maverick Mike. You can call me whichever one you like. But I'm just here to try to make us money from one day to the next. The goal is to hopefully buy stocks that we have found in my past history of 10 years of trading, have followed up after creating patterns that I like. And I do have a group of stocks that are creating those patterns right now. So, what I'm going to do is I'll pull up 5 of those stocks. I'm going to put 5 of those on a watch list. And that watch list is created every single day in the Simpler Trading website under Stock Mavericks. So I do this every day, try to make money from one day to this. Yesterday, we actually played ATAI and followed up really nicely today. If anybody really stayed patient until right now, it broke out to new highs. But nice work there. Now we're going to try to see if we can do something similar here with some other plays. My favorite one is ABAT. So I do like this ABAT momentum here. Looking for a possible move. This is a battery stock. It's a former runner. It's creating a first green day, and usually after a first green day, you do follow up. I mean, you could see what happened last time. It created a first green day right around this level. It gapped up and pushed really high. So we would look for hopefully a follow-up green day. That would be the ideal situation. But the key to whenever I'm buying, and sorry for my voice here, I actually had a bachelor party over the weekend and I lost my voice a little bit. But the key to my buys is I like to find support levels that we can risk off of. And I try to buy as close to that support as possible, which here you would say is 349, 350. So I like buying right here. I actually bought some just now at 356. So that's pretty much my entry level, and we'll see if we can buy some more for an overnight gapper. But I do like this if it holds 349 into the close, buying some right now at 356. So getting some starters, and we'll see what we can get all together. But I do like what I got there. The next 2 stocks that I think we should pay attention to, and if you aren't watching them, they are robotic stocks. Robotic stocks actually just came out with news, and Kit was actually the stock that did it. So supposedly right now, Iran is saying that they're going to put mines in the ocean, wherever the boats are crossing the Hamas or whatever it's called. So we're going to need some sort of robotics or something to kind of find those mines. And that's why a lot of these robotic stocks started to spike. We have an OTC robotic stock, KRKNF, that has actually made a pretty big move. 52-week breakout, and that's one of my patterns that I play. Looking for a follow-up day. You can see here we go. But talking about mass investment group, because it hasn't popped up yet on Thinkorswim, but that's now caused a big spike. And it seems like robotic stocks are getting some attention. KRKNF, KITT. So those are decent watchers here for possible overnight plays. We then have a silver stock that doesn't look too bad, SLVRF. I'm not the biggest fan of taking a silver overnight, but I always like to have 5 stocks on here, and I usually like to spread out the variety of stocks that I have. So a silver stock I think is a pretty good idea to have on there. So we'll keep an eye on it. And then I do have one mining stock with all the metal stocks that are doing pretty decent today. we have this mining slash metal stock that tested 52-week highs. So another one, this one would be slow. I call these kind of plays old reliable plays. But what you would look for is just a follow-up green day and a possible breakout back above 705. So just like KRKNF just did, you would look for that to do that just tomorrow. So I got myself my 5. Let me create the watch list that I like to create. There are other ones that are running today for sure. You have TUNGF, you have HGREF, you have LGVN. That's a huge runner. And this is actually up 60% and it's holding nicely support. It's a first green day. And it's got $200 million in volume, holding clear 80 cents. So that's what you'd have to use as risk if you like one like that. So we got a lot of stuff moving today. It's more just pick and choose what you like for the overnight plays. So let me just make this watch list and see what we got. Sorry if the audio is breaking up slightly. I got the microphone moved closer to me now. And my voice could be my voice crackling because it's still not fully recovered from the Bachelor weekend, but we're getting there. I think by tomorrow we'll be fully recovered. So give me about 3 minutes to update this list. We're 10 minutes into Power Hour. Right now, we just have some ABAT at 356. We'll see what else we can get here into the close. Let me just update this overnight watch list. And yesterday on the overnight watch list, we were able to go 2 for 2, taking ABAT and UURAF. So we were able to take 2 listed stocks that both followed up. Both of them are plays that we've played before. So I usually like to play stocks we've played before. And that's what this one is as well, ABAT. So that's usually what I like, to play stuff I played before. I like to describe it as pitchers. So if you've played baseball, you know that sometimes when you see the same pitcher you've seen before, it becomes easier to hit. Same type of analogy here. So ABAT is going to go number 1 on that list. Number 2 on that list is going to be KRKNF. And what I look for here is called the 52-week breakout. The other stock was called the first green day. So it's just the stock and the pattern. I'm not buying these stocks because I like the stock. I'm buying them because they're creating a pattern that's made me money in the past 8 years. And I'm just trying to find that and rinse and repeat that over and over again. All right. And the next one we're going to put on there, let's see, I think kits might be a little too risky. I'm going to do that JAGGF, and it's actually dipping pretty badly right now, which we love dips. I always say dips are discounts when it comes to Power Hour. So right now, the Power Hour is the last hour of the day. And I always say, if the stock can dip for you, as long as it still holds that support, which we're going to go over in a second, then it's actually still healthy for a follow-up tomorrow. So we got that 356 in ABAT. That's the only position. I got 3,000 shares now. So we've got some pretty decent size there. We're going to see if we can follow up. I like this JAGGF dip right now. It's actually not too bad at all. But it's a slower mover. This one would definitely be labeled as an old reliable. So you wouldn't look for as much on the way up, but you also don't look for it. You're not risking a lot at all. A big part of what I like to see here. I'm going to put this one silver stock because silver is up and it's been a while since we've had a silver stock moving. So SLVRF. It's the lightest volume one we have, but it's also a penny stock. and it's creating a first green day. It's coming up to some key levels. $0.40 is long-term support, and you can see it just broke out when silver was going crazy. So we'll see. We just look for a follow-up green day. That's all we look for there. And then the last one I'm going to do, so I have one more left. I'm going to do higher risk, higher reward with LGVN. And then we're going to go over this list in just 20 seconds here. KITT new highs, which is good for the robotic stocks. I was going to do KITT on my overnight watch list, but KITT hasn't followed up in a long, long time. But hey, maybe today's the day. It's got the big news. OPTT is also getting a nice spike too with that news. And OPTT actually has some a nice watcher too. It's like an ocean stock. So actually this is not a bad one to watch as well. But you can see the follow-up days in OPTT, and we've actually had huge bags on this stock. Ugh. Definitely makes me want to hold a little bit of cash aside just in case we get a huge runner. KRKNF, KIT, all of these. ABAT, nice curl there. And then this JAGGF as well. I think I'm going to get some JAGGF, the old reliable. I'll try to refresh it right now, Joe. Hold on one second. So look at OPTT getting a nice spike there. We're definitely seeing some momentum from these patterns here. But look at OPTT. They're all kind of following each other. KRKNF with that beautiful dip in KRKNF down to 720. And it held that 719 breakout spot perfectly. So that's what you'd look for. But here are the 5 stocks that are on the overnight watch list. And this is what we're looking for possible follow-ups. ABAT we already have at 356. We already said that. The next ones we're looking for are these other ones on this list. So the goal is to buy as close to the support as possible and hopefully sell above the resistance using the support as cut. So ABAT is holding 350 pretty closely, and then we want to see it hopefully push back above 367. The next one is KRKNF, and we got the robotic news. So this one's holding 725 really nicely, bounced to 759, nice move. JAGGF, slow moving, but this is another mining stock. Metal stocks and mining stocks are up, and this is testing 52-week highs. So 775 was a pretty nice dip from 705, which is the 52-week highs. But buying close to 630, that'd be your cut there. And then the last two would be SLVRF, which I decided to go with silver. And honestly, I'm going to put OPTT on there instead. Now that we've got this movement, I like OPTT better. We got to go where the momentum is. And OPTT's got some nice momentum here. It's up to 4911. But it's just getting momentum from this news. So that's going to be my fourth one instead. And the news is on that they're going to be putting mines in the ocean. Doesn't look cool, but doesn't sound nice at all. But yeah, that's OPTT, and then LGVN, higher risk, higher reward, would be the last one that we got on there. We do have some sector momentum that I didn't expect, but it came late in the day, and that's the beauty of the market. Right when that news came out, both of these stocks started to spike. So you're seeing them make a move. But ABAT is the only one we got so far, and we'll see what else we can get here into the close. That GAGGF dip was perfect down there. Keeping an eye on that, and then we're going to see if KRKNF could keep holding 719, which is the breakout. KIT is the other big robotic runner, and KIT has big spikes in its past too. All right, so ABAT is the only one right now, but we are still definitely watching the rest. OPTT seems to be the one that's moving with KIT, so let's put them right next to each other. Very strong move there. So ABAT's the only one we got right now. And let's see if anything else can follow up here. I need to make some money because me and Nick are actually buying a new AC unit for my house. So that's got to happen. ABAT, I mean, OP, look at the huge seller in OP. But if it breaks this, it's probably going to go. But look at that big seller at 50. Talk about the momentum that just picked up in this stock. And there's a lot of history of following up. I'm definitely going to leave some money aside for after hours because I do think we might get a little active after hours. So I'll be watching everything after hours for possible plays. But I like what I'm seeing in OPTT and KITT. Remember, they do move after hours. They're both listed stocks. KRKNF won't. So if you caught that dip down to 725, it's a nice move there. ABAT's trying to curl. The one that we got at 356 is trying to curl. Let's see if it keeps holding and it's able to push back above highs. That's what we look for now. But there is still 35 minutes left in the day. And there is OPTT. What a beauty. That big seller at 50 just went through. Let's see how much more it can push. But you can see what's going on with the momentum here. Huge move from, power hour till now there in OPTT. That's clean. That is real clean there. Same with that KRKNF. From 725 back to highs. Let's see if ABAT could do the same. If you do like the old reliable, JAGGF probably wasn't a bad spot to buy in that dip, or just put a limit down by the bid. I always recommend to put limits on the bid. Unless it's the last 30 minutes and you really like it, then you got to go after it on the ask. And then another OTC, that actually made a really strong move. And another example of a breakout is what we like to call it. It actually broke out perfectly in the middle of the day, and it hasn't turned around since. Up almost 10% from that breakout spot. I missed this one. There was so much going on just now, I kind of stopped looking at that one. But RNWF was also a pretty big move here. So with that KRK and F down to that 730 spot, let's see if it can actually push. But that was a nice little dip and hold of breakout. It's what you want to see. If you're wondering what we are looking for, ATAI was the one we did yesterday. And you're really just looking for a strong close like this to hopefully follow up. So the ones that we brought up, those 5, it's looking for a strong close to possibly follow up. And you just try to stick to your cut there. All right, so we're heading into the last 30 minutes of the day, which is usually when you like to get a little more aggressive. So we'll be watching. I'm also watching this OPTT to see how far it can dip. It looks like that 44 area would be nice because you have to risk like 43, or you can risk 45, whatever one you want. But I'm trying to see if I do like it. I want to make sure it holds into power hour or into the close. Is this just quick momentum that just picked up, or is this going to hang around for a day or two? Usually, if momentum hangs around for a day or two, they can get some pretty big follow ups. So that's why I'm interested. Most of my profit, and you can go to Profitly to check out, I've been trading for 10 years now, and most of my profit, if you look at it, comes from sector momentum. A lot of these big swings in my trading career are from moments when we run into big sector swings, which would be something like this, where something big in the world has now everybody's eyes, and then there's stocks that are related to that. It's usually when not just the stock market world is talking about it. It's usually when multiple people are talking about it. Probably when I say your parents are usually talking about it, that's usually when you can say it's a hot sector. Your parents are when it gets to your grandparents, you know it's really hot. Or like your friends that don't invest, if they start talking about it, you know it's a hot sector. So those are just kind of quick signs for you to pick up on how you see if they're a hot sector. A good example would be like Bitcoin, when people start to talk about Bitcoin again. And if you realize Bitcoin hasn't been talked about in a while, which is usually a good sign if you are a long termer, you'd probably want to start buying when people aren't talking about it. But when everyone starts to talk about it again, it does start to get attention, and you get a big flare up in just that group of stocks. And there are Bitcoin related stocks that we do pretty good on when that does happen. And I do think it's going to come soon. My favorite one, just a little bonus here, is BTCS. I think it's loading up. It looks like it. I got my alerts ready for it to just break out. But if you look at BTCS, it's been holding now. And it has huge runs. Last time Bitcoin ran, it ran from $2 to 6, and then from 4 to 8. So you can see the potential there. RNWF continuing to push. They do have a huge seller. So with OTC stocks, one of my favorite things about OTCs, a lot of people would say they're risky, but if you have a risk level set in place, like today, you could have put 4.2 as your cut. You're up really nicely after this push. And not only that, you can read level twos usually a little easier. And you can see when there's big sellers, which right here, there's 300K seller, but then you can see when there's big buyers. And those usually help the stocks move in certain directions. So reading those levels are very important. RNWF, that would have helped you. In the middle of the day, it had a 200K buyer that popped in right here. So if you wanted to just ride with that 200K buyer in RNWF, you could have just flowed with it. All right, we officially have 30 minutes left in the day. We've already got some ABAT. We've got our ABAT at 356. The only other ones I could see myself trying is KRKNF and maybe JRGGF. OPTT, I want to watch after hours. But if OPTT holds a certain spot after hours, I do think it's worth it to possibly turn around. But it's got to come down even more. So I don't want to really risk all the way up here. RNWF is testing those huge sellers here. Let's see if it officially breaks 5, or is that where it's going to dip? But nice test of 5. There's actually more sellers that just popped in from before. If someone did catch that, that was a nice run there. From the breakout, 10% run already there before power hour. So with ABAT, the one that we're in, what we're looking for is we need this to hold 349. If it does dip, that's okay. We could possibly add just a little more. But 349, 350 is the spot you need to hold to possibly follow up. And then this is a listed stock. It might not be as volatile after hours as OPTT and KIT because those ones have some momentum. But this one could move after hours, and ideally you still need it to hold, and then you want it to push. We got KRKNF that's making that nice little curl. I mean, that breakout dip buy was perfect. And it looks like RNWF actually went through those sellers. I don't know if it's going to push, but it looks like it ate them up. So this is how you read the level twos here. You can see that that big seller right there went through. Let's see if it pushes. There's the volume in it. And then the good thing about all this is all of this is happening right now while the markets are being so just up and down, up and down, up and down. We've had 3 straight red days last week. We were kind of dipping. We're going through a war, and we're still able to find some nice momentum. So that's what it's all about. Last week, the oil stocks were the crazy runners, running from 80 cents to $2, back down to 80 cents, then back all the way to 250. So just the volatility, the beauty behind it, the breakout, and then the morning momentum play on this day. So a lot of opportunity here coming on with the momentum that we've had. Unfortunately, it's war. That's the news that everybody is kind of talking about, and that's what's bringing the momentum. But robotics. So I always like to say there's keywords that you do want to watch when it comes to war-related stocks. And the keywords that I watch, so you either are going to find this in the stock's name, you're going to find this in the stock's news, or you're going to find it somewhere related to the stock. But these are the words you look for when it comes to war: oil, energy, And then defense, which KRKNF has, the robotic, which also KRKNF has, and then missiles and drones. All of those are usually high volatile things that or high volatile names, words that get things going in war sector. So you'll either see it, like I said, in the name or in the news somewhere. But if you find those words, those are usually keywords that can get things going at this time. We still got 25 minutes left. Usually the last 30 minutes I get a little more aggressive. So really kind of putting my debate on if I do want to get anything else here. You know, do I feel comfortable with an OPTT or a kit? Or do we just try one of these OTC stocks like JGGF or KRKNF? These ones are a little slower, so I feel like I can wait till closer to the bell for the OTCs. The listed stocks, I do think you can watch those after hours, and as long as you stick to the cut, because they still kind of have to create supports. They've just spiked straight up, both of them. And Kit's going to try to hold the dollar. Last time Kit spiked, it gapped up, but it came right down after that. So it actually gapped up after hours, came right down. Same type of situation. I don't know if I can trust Kit. It doesn't have a lot of follow-up days. Usually if I like a stock that's creating a big day, you need to see it follow up. And out of all year, this is the only day, almost like a year ago, when it followed up last. KRKNF, on the other hand, has some follow-up days. If I zoom back into the 1-year chart and I look at it, you can see, you know, those big follow-ups that have happened after a big green day. So that's usually how I dim down my patterns here. Look at RNWF. It now has big buyers coming in. So there is momentum and a half coming from this stock out of nowhere. But nice push. If you caught a breakout, that's typically a breakout pattern. And it's from our weekly watch list. I actually make my weekly watch list every single Monday. So to start the week, I always say there's a newspaper that you could possibly make money on with the team, and that's called the weekly watch list. It's just a list of stocks that I possibly think can make you money. And look what number one was on the listed category, the stock we made money off of yesterday. And then we also have Celsius that created a big bounce. I thought I put RNWF on there, but I guess I didn't. I talked about it yesterday. I guess I didn't put it on there, but it's definitely one I talked about. Maybe was it last week that it was on there? It was on there last week, so I guess I just forgot it again, but there it is from last week. But every week I do this, every Monday. And it's, I feel like, a good way to get prepared for your market, to get prepped up. So if you're interested in stuff like that, would love to have you on the team. Come check us out in the Simpler Trading website under Stock Mavericks. KRKNF continues to hold. The only way I'm going to get back into this is, or get into this, is if it dips back to that 730 area and holds, or in the last couple of minutes, and just look for the gap up. It looks like another big seller has ran into RNWF, but momentum has pushed this thing up. I don't know about Kit here. It's starting to fade, but we'll see if it can hold. $1 is always a key spot. So see if it can hold that $1. And then OPTT, it looks like 45 is going to be that spot now that you want to see it hold. ABAT's 350. But we got 20 minutes left here in the day. I honestly think I want one of these robotic stocks, I think. So I'm going to try to do KRKNF, OPTT, or KIT. It's probably going to be OPTT or KRKNF, and I obviously like KRKNF the best because it comes from our overnight watch list. I think I might have missed that dip by opportunity right there at 720. But let's see. We still have some time. We still have 20 minutes left. Yesterday, I did a bad job of not holding with ATAI. So I do want to try to say if we do get into something and it does gap up tomorrow, I want to try to at least give it a chance. ATAI actually had news in the morning. So a big bonus about stocks that usually create a pattern that I like is if they get news that next day, it's usually a bonus and or that day, and this one got news. So pretty frustrating. It's actually a psychedelic stock that's working with the PTSD and depression therapy. And it's pretty cool to see, it's getting some nice momentum. I've seen this stock run really nicely and I've played it tons of times before. So it was really just kind of playing something we've done before in the past. But then we woke up to news, so I should have been a lot more patient here in the morning. I did a bad job with that. But nice overall follow up. And that's what it's all about, finding a winner. And the best thing is, you pick where you want to buy and sell. You're kind of your own boss. That's one of my favorite things about the stock market. I usually like to put 5 stocks on the list because you kind of find what 5 you like. I mean, what patterns you like and what style of trades you like. But it's great. There's always different styles. It's just I found that these styles do give me some consistency. Look at KRKNF coming to new highs there. So the robotic stock that got a nice spike looks like it might want to follow up. We'll keep our eyes closely on it. If it wants to give us a dip in the last 15 minutes, or is it just going to break back out? Nice move, though. It's pretty strong. It's testing highs again. And then Kit's trying to get back above $1, which is obviously a great spot for that. Let's see. Let's see. We got 3 stocks that'll be really entertaining after hours, and that's what I love about trading. It keeps it entertaining throughout the day. I kind of would hate 24/7 trading though. I don't know how Bitcoin traders do it and futures traders, but I do like it closing at 8 because you finally get a little break. But this LGVN is still holding 80 cents. OPTT and KID are still holding. Those are all going to be great watchers here after hours as we head into the close in the next 15 minutes. With the wild day that these have had, it's also been a wild day in football free agency. We got the Miami Dolphins taking Malik Willis. Looks like we got a new quarterback. I'll take it. Anything but Tua. I was kind of sick watching him. Jets fans out there. Got any Jets fans out there? Taking Geno Smith back? That's a wild decision. But I like it as a Dolphin. I like it. Good call, boys. Man, KRKNF, new highs. So that was a beautiful dip opportunity there. Getting right back to breakout. So a breakout play, a pattern that I like is when it does break out, usually you want to see it hold that breakout. So I have that line at 720 because if you zoom out, you can see that breakout spot was like, oh, it was actually 7 exactly. Thought it was 719. Let me back up. Oh, yes, it was 7 exactly. But as it broke 7, look what it did. I mean, even if you got it at 7, that's even better. You're up 10%. But it broke 7 early in the morning. That was where it topped out at. And then it dropped it just for a little bit. And then it held it all day. Nice spike into the close here. This is what you want to see. if you have one of your plays here overnight. I always describe, stocks, especially OTC stocks, almost like a water hose that's closing. And if you just shut a water hose off, there's still water ready to come out. And then right at the next morning, usually you're going to get that gap up because if it closes strong, it's going to open strong. Same type of situation. And that's why you usually look for a strong close in the last 10 minutes. And right now, this one's doing it. We still got 15 minutes left. There definitely could still be time where it dips. But nice start there. Nice. So OPTT is trying to curl after that little dip there. Let's see if it holds and breaks back out. I will definitely be watching this after hours and possibly be buying this. It's just such a big runner in the past. KRKNF new highs, new 52-week highs, new all-time highs. ABAT's going to come back and test that spot here into the close. Not the direction we wanted it to go. It is a listed stock, and we are playing with listed stuff. So QQQ and SPY, you do want to watch just a little bit, and they are pushing down. Don't usually get too affected by that, though. But you always do want to be a little bit of aware of what the market's doing here. Let's see. OPTT has a huge seller again at 50, but let's see if it can get to that spot again. It seems to be a brick wall there. All right, so ABAT's coming down a little bit. We just needed to make sure it holds in the last 10 minutes, but not what we wanted. KRKNF, on the other hand, is going the opposite direction. Nice to see it breaking out even more. C-Power battery sales. So you can see what I mean by this company moving from, C stuff. C-Power battery sales, $35 million deal. So let's see. We're getting this last hold here in ABAT. Hopefully it holds here into the close. I'm not going to chase KRKNF into this close, but that was a beauty. And if you caught the dip, that's exactly what we were looking for, and that's kind of what we're looking for here. But there is 10 minutes left. I always like to say we're looking for the fourth quarter push. Let's see if we can get it here. About a little more down here at 355. So I just put a limit at 355 and it filled me right away. So we know it is filling there Hopefully we can get this bounce in the last fourth quarter push. And if KRKNF does dip at all, I am watching that still. If you did like JAGGF, it's right there by the breakout. But I think I'm going to wait. Tomorrow is a new day, and every single day we have a morning watch list, not just an overnight watch list. So it's 2 watch lists a day, and I go live twice a day. So on the morning watch list, well, let me just put JAGGF so we can watch for it. And then OPTT, KIT, KRKNF. We'll watch all the those robotic ones / mining ones. I'll make sure to put those on there. And then the one we're taking overnight, we want a second green day there. So I highlight the ones that we've taken overnight. If you can see yesterday, the 2 we took overnight were the ones that worked out. Actually, both of them worked out. If you go look at UUREF, that one also followed up. So nice moves. I'm a little disappointed I'm not in this KRKNF on that dip. Might have missed it there. But remember, tomorrow's a new day, and you do not have to have something every day. So going back to that comment where you are your own boss, the beauty of trading is tomorrow will be new opportunities, new plays, probably new possible sectors that will pop up with all the momentum that have been coming lately. So with that being said, you can always take a day and wait for tomorrow morning. You do not have to have a stock every day to profit in this game. Remember that. RNWF with the dip and trying to hold now, trying to bounce off this 4-6 spot. It's a pretty decent dip. The breakout was 4-5, so that was actually a pretty decent dip there. It bounced instantly. So markets are going to close in 7 minutes, but OPTT, LGVN, and KITT, I'll be watching until 8 for sure, as well as ABAT, the one that we're in overnight, which we're break even right now. And ideally, when we're in a stock overnight, I like to have some cushion, meaning I like it to be a little bit higher than where I'm in. So we'll see if that happens here. But no matter what, I'm going to stick to 349 as the cut. So if we do lose, it keeps it as minimal as possible with the 356 entry. You keep like a 6-cent risk, 7-cent risk, which is less than 3%. But that looks like the only one that we're going to take right now. Unless KRKNF comes closer to 730, I'm going to either try OPTT or KITT. So I might just try one of those instead. OPTT coming back up to 500K, which is a big spot. Let's see if it could break that. Wow, now it's 750K at 50. So 50 cents is a huge spot there. Let's see if it breaks it again. And it's OPTT is what I'm talking about, if you're wondering. This is an ocean battery-powered defense company. They actually have defense in their name, so you can see Maritime Domain Partner. Where is it? Buoy. So U.S. Coast Guard deploy buoy systems. So stuff that can be hot, water-related stuff right now. We'll see if that news continues to come out. But we got 5 minutes left. What I like to call the buzzer beater. So let's see if we can get a buzzer beater push in these plays into the close. RNDW and GAGGF. Yeah, nice OTTs. Same with KRKNF. There's a lot of opportunities, but I do like this ABAT. Same with OPTT and Kit. I will be watching them after hours. If I play those, I'll probably be pretty quick. For sure with Kit, if I play that, because it doesn't usually follow up a lot. But usually what's good about these is if one follows up, the other one might go with it. So just keep your eyes on them. They are fun to watch after hours for possible big pushes. You have to be quick, though. Remember, if it doesn't work, you always just got to stick to your cut. So it's just going to be ABAT for me for now. And then we're going to see if we can do one of these OPTTs after hours or kits. KRKNF might dip low enough in the last couple minutes here where I might try it. Let's see. This is why I didn't want to go after it just yet. It's usually a slower mover. I was impressed there. But all this stems from that news that I was just showing you, that it looks like Iran may deploy mines in the Hormuz Strait. Sorry, I don't pronounce that correctly. Small vessels carrying 2 to 3 mines each to try to throw things off over there. And then you need robots to go find those mines, so that's why robots are making a move here. We haven't had robot sector momentum in a while. Other robotic stocks, just to bring them up before we close out, RR, SERV, UMAC. This is like a drone one. So we've got some decent plays, but let's see what we get into the close. At the end of the day, I love that we had a very active power hour, because no matter what the market's going to do, up, down, or side to side, which right now is pretty much a side to side day, we'll still be able to figure stuff out. And that's what we've been able to do here. So hopefully we can create a bag. We won earlier today. Let's see if we can add to that. And then, like I said, if you don't like anything, we will have stuff on the morning watch list tomorrow. But I like what I got here. This stock kind of reminds me of ATAI, the one we did yesterday, except it's not closing as strong, but I like it. It usually has followed up. It also starts with the letter A as well. So we'll take it. 2-minute warning. But like they say at the Heat game, a dos minutos. If you like JAGGF, that did come down to the support. You could take that RNWF as well if you like that. But we're just going to stick with this one here. Hopefully OPTT or Kit can make a move. ATAI is still holding as well, so I'll keep watching that. Another robotic stock that's kind of hanging around is MBot. And this one has some news, but this one isn't war robotic. This one's just a robotic stock. Alrighty, last 30 seconds here. It's nice to see this is pushing just a little bit, but we'll see where it decides to close. It's the only one we decide to go after. So keeping it a little bit of slower here, but we are in wartime. On average, I've been taking 2 stocks a day, every day. But today it looks like we're going to take 1. We took 2 yesterday, and we actually went 2 for 2. All right, and there is the bell. We'll watch ABAT after hours, and then we'll keep watching, obviously, the OPTT and KITT. I just noticed they both end with TT. So nice movers there. LGVN's another one we can watch. KRKNF strong close all the way up at 756. So if you got it down here, you got a nice cushion. And that's what I'm talking about. Let's keep taking it one day and one trade at a time, guys. If you guys enjoyed this on social media or on YouTube, I'm doing this every day with my team in the Simpler Trading website under Stock Mavericks. We're tagging bags every day. Hopefully, we can go 3 for 3 here to start the week after this A-BAT play. But keep an eye on those other big movers that happened today with these ones. All right, guys, much love, social media. We'll be here next week, or come see me in the room.